on each side, you could literally just hold down lanes so much easier. And now that you have that one less member on each team, right, there's that much less coverage, that much less utility, that much less Lancer fire, and it lets you move around the map a little more fluidly. It lets you make more decisive moves, and again, just it feels less clogged up because Exhibit's a small map, right? That's not a very large piece of surface area, especially when you look at a map like Exhibit, and so that map plays a lot better 4v4. Obviously, you know, we've seen Harbor time and time again in Gears 4, into Gears 5. That map plays much differently as well when you can more fluidly move, and that's kind of been the theme across a lot of these maps. It comes down to sort of how fluidly the map plays. Of course, we know certain maps were massive, like Bunker. Those ones didn't get quite as much love. So it was an interesting process for sure to kind of determine some of these maps. As you know, we've changed maps from Split 1, we changed them into Split 2. Like I said, we're always trying to make sure we have the best possible map pool for the program.
And I think that's so important here. And, you know, our pros gave a lot of feedback on it. And I will say that I enjoy our 7-map cycle now. But folks, as you see, we are in the game now, finally into round number 1. Now, just kind of break down some of the action we caught coming into this one. As we currently see, ALRM is out here, triple capping RR, as we see a big fight erupting here on top of the C hill. But Rapidz pushing back Rocky. Abolics still on the hill, causing some trouble here. That's going to be 2 kills back to back, and he wants the third, has support over the top, but he's just going to choose to disengage. Now, the opening strategy for RR was that they played this into a 2-2. And on the flip end, ALRM, they rushed 3 guys down low at B and proceeded to kind of wrap this map and pinch the C hill, ultimately coming out there with the trip cap domination after all the chaos is settled.
Yeah, it looked like RR did enough to earn themselves back into the match, right? And then, you know, next thing you know, Abolics doesn't leave the hill, pops off for a 2-piece, and then 99 points the third player, right? So next thing you know, they are right back in control. One player does try to sneak out, but you could see they read him like a book. There was a Lancer waiting right for him on that neutral hill. Great stuff coming out from ALRM, as we expected, right? This is not a team that I would pick a map like Vasgar against, right? They're very fast. Like I said, they got that chemistry, so I think RR's got their work cut out for them. They got to show up big.
I'm happy that double kills are back with as much weight as they used to have in previous 4v4, because you got a double kill in 5v5. You know, sometimes it got overshadowed just because of that extra guy on the map being able to cover all of those lanes. Getting a double kill in Gears of War at this level, folks, is very hard to do. A lot of these players don't miss. And, you know, we got to give it the respect there. You saw how it was quickly able to turn the tide of that battle. Now, we almost had kind of a similar mirror strategy to kick this one off. As you see, 2v2 down here towards the B hill. Abolics has a player behind him and one in front of him, trying to get creative with his movement so he can kind of dodge shots from the back, but he can't do so. So B hill transitions over towards RR. Now on the flip end, we saw ALRM come out with a 2-2, so they wanted to put pressure on the C hill and the A hill, especially with RR kind of not running a man-on-man strategy, and it's hard for them to see that on a map like Vasgar because you can't see every lane.
And you can see RR now starting to take control here. They have the numbers. They've finally taken control of the 2-cap, and now they're starting to slay out. You're going to see Nero certainly living up to that name, being amazing, getting a 2-piece of his own. Rocky, the last remaining member here for ALRM. The trip cap is underway. Rocky's going to get 1 kill, but he's not in a position to touch a hill. No one's able to get there in time. RR strike back with a trip cap of their own. Interesting enough, right? We've seen kind of both teams come out swinging, both teams take control, and both teams finish the round off. It's very impressive.
Yes, it is. And so I consider in the first half a rival spawn to be the spawn with the better positioning with that A hill and the height advantage. And so far, the team that kind of started on that side of the map has come out victorious. So we'll see if that trend wants to continue here. Retro Lancers are going to be placed on the map. Now let's take a look at this opening strategy to kick this one off. This time, both squads are kind of going to match this 2-2 setup here. We see player 5, Morality. He's trying to get a head count across map, and I think he was able to assess that 2 players were coming towards their home hill. They're going to get it down on the other end, but here at the tank area of the map, Rapidz trying to cross out that player on the B hill. Now, this is the fight that we were kind of kicking off where that first down happened. Morality able to come in, get the first down. Rocky with the cleanup. Now the pressure is on RR. Players 8 and 7 know that they need to push forward. They cannot let this trip cap domination come through. Abolics with the pressure and the chunk. They lock in round number 3.
You saw that beautiful pinch coming onto the A hill, right? Those 2 players just had absolutely nowhere to go. That's the level of teamwork we know that this ALRM roster has, and they just displayed it perfectly. You look at Rocky, right? 6 kills, hasn't even died yet on the map. they are looking very, very tough. Again, we saw RR bounce back in round number 2. We'll see what they got for us here in the next round as the weapons start to get developed on the map. You have those retro lancers placed. Now you got a couple of Boltox in the mix as well. See if that has any impact for these squads.
And, you know, I would say good job to Abolics and Lanarchy for understanding when they had to back up and play it more defensively after their teammates acquire kills on the other end of the map. That way, they were able to just wait for the players of RR to kind of walk into them and get those kills. We saw one player, that was player 3, trying to use that camera angle to get as much intel as he could over the top of that cover, as well as hiding his position. They know that they got a 2-man fight over between the C and the A hill. Now, over at the tank side of the map, we got to ask ourselves, which fight's going to break out first? Lanarchy has the retro in hand, and I think Toxiq and Rapidz, they know that. So they don't want to move just yet unless they can kind of cross them out. They're going to let their teammates on the other side of the map make the play first.
And you're going to see, looks like every single member so far of ALRM still has their utility. Meanwhile, RR already used about half of it. So we'll see if that's the difference maker so far. Solar is going to get the first kill. Rocky trying to even out the odds. He's going to fall as well. Now, 4 versus 2 advantage in favor of RR. Lanarchy is going to push the pace with that retro lancer. We know how strong that thing can be when you are accurate with it. He's going to take out Rapidz, and he's going to move his way right over to that A hill, kind of in typical Vasgar fashion, right? They win one side, you run to the other, and you keep rotating that thing in a circle over and over and over. Nero with a bit of a retro lancer of his own. Still, RR continuing to light that feed up, continuing to hold those numbers. It's a matter of time before Lanarchy falls. RR looking strong.
No, they're looking really strong to be able to hold off from that push, because that was a great one from Abolics and Lanarchy to be able to push through after their teammates died, and they got some kills and they hit the pressure in their opponent's spawn. But we see RR being able to hold that one off. Now Nero with the retro in hand, he's going to make sure he locked down this entire lane, saying, hey, you guys want to come this way? You may get beamed, but he's going to continue to back up. It seems like his teammate got a head count that was more than 2 players on this side of the map. So RR is going to do a great job at fortifying. Now, let's see how ALRM is going to be able to break this setup. Flash is going to be out. Morality comes in. Doesn't get a shot over the cover, but he needs to be careful. He can get shot through the grate. His teammate goes down. He puts out a little bit of damage. Friendly fire on the side of Toxiq. Can he make up for it? Miss Roll goes down as well. The A hill gets capped up for ALRM. And now, coming off respawn, they need to get their home hill.
Fantastic composure coming through from Morality in that 2v1, right? You saw how he just continued to play his life and ended up actually forcing a team kill and then winning the 1v1. He finally does end up falling, but that's a big play to keep his team alive in this round. Of course, you see RR still about to cross the 200-point mark, so a lot of work left to do for ALRM. You got to make a definitive push, and it's got to be successful because, again, we know on Vasgar how often you can just kind of continue to turn on the different objectives over and over. They have the 2 hills, but they don't have the win condition.
Now, RR, they just win off of 1, but we see that they're fighting for another heal because they know they are in a great position to win this fight. So, hey, go for it, take it, see if you can get it, make it that much harder for your opponent to win this map, to win this round. And that's exactly what they're going to do. As we see C Hill's getting capped up, A Hill is not going to be fully broken, and Rocky's going to go down. RR should have no issues whatsoever getting this one all tied up here in the first half, 2-2. Nobody's going to be close to that A Hill.
That's what made me so excited about this matchup, man. We know these are 2 very, very strong teams. A lot of good teamwork being displayed on each end. And, man, back and forth we go to kick off our series. Seeing a lot of just very even slaying out on the side of ALRM, right? Everyone doing their job, everyone moving around together. On the side of RR, you're seeing a lot of big individual plays coming out as well. 2 strong teams looking like strong teams to me, Blaze.
Yeah, they are. And this is a super important round for RR because I think this is going to be their break round. This is where they can get their first lead of the game with the D Hill being their home hill. We see Hammerburst and Retro Lancers are surrounding it for both squads. So lots of utility on the map. And on a map that's as open as Vasgar, I'm pretty sure these players are going to put it to good use. Taking a look at this opening strategy, 3 players going towards the D Hill for RR. They're going to meet at the tank side. Actually, it's just going to be 2. So same initiative that we've kind of seen before in the previous rounds. 2-2 split. Sorry, 2-2 split for RR. A 3-1 split for ALRM. That's going to get me tongue twisted throughout this entire day, folks. Okay, so get ready for it. But so far, nice opening strategy. Both these squads just looking for somebody to mess up. And it looks like RR will be able to isolate Morality over there on the top end of the map. Get a little bit too aggressive there. That's going to force his teammates to have to press forward.
You're seeing kills kind of being traded on both sides of the map. You're going to see now 3 members, though, go down for RR. That leaves Solar as the last remaining member. Good start coming through from ALRM to take control of both home hills. So now the decision has to be made on the side of RR. Where do you make your move off of spawn? Which hill do you choose to push? Again, Vasgar, a very different map than most, right? So the play isn't always as straightforward as taking back your home hill. Looks like so far they've made their push onto D. Trades once again coming back and forth. Solar falls, Morality falls, and now you have Nero versus Lanarchy. Nero, he's going to win that fight. Rocky coming to the rescue. Leave Retro Lancer in hand. Can he get the revive? Oh, he's trying, he's dodging, he's dipping. He does get the revive. That puts Nero in a bad spot, but Nero still ends up getting one on the way out. The net's about the same.
Oh, man.
We'll give Rocky the hill.
When Rocky cut back for the chunk instead of going for the revive, I was like, what you doing, big fella? Kind of opened up the play, opened up the opportunity for them to come out with the double kill. But in the end, you did see ALRM lock in the E heal, and they do have 2 heals to their name. So far, this is the best setup in which they can get, but they are looking for more. They are showing their numbers towards the D hill, and RR knows that they've already gotten the intel from their teammates, so they need to press forward, get this E hill decapped and capped up in their favor, and they're gonna have to back up to defend as well, because they can't really press forward going through the spawn of ALRM, especially with the respawn bank being out of this 4v4 competitive escalation. These guys can spawn up at any given time, and we take a look at the score. ALRM should be pulling away here with the lead soon. They'll be the defensive squad in this situation. Let's see how they're going to be able to defend against this next assault coming out of RR.
See, Rocky has eyes on the push, right? He seems to know where it's coming, and it looks like RR is going to choose to instead push the other direction. You're going to see Solar make his way over towards D. Morality, he's there and he's waiting. He saw him with that utility in hand, and he pushed the tempo. That gives him 2, looking to make it a 3rd. He is going to fall. Lanarchy here to pick up the pieces. That's going to be 1. Rapidz, no choice but to try to get that touch on the hill. He's doing his best, but look at Lanarchy just playing the spacing properly, right? Doing exactly what you love to see. He does get the down. He is going to be traded out, but look at the score plays, right? 225 points, both hills in their favor. Beautiful.
Yeah, I think this is the round in which we're going to see ALRM pull away with this series. That was a swing round in my book, even though it has been going back and forth. But, you know, I'll, say it till I'm blue in the face that, I just think that top spawn is just the more advantageous one. So that was an advantage that the Swarm team gave up. Even looking back towards Pro League last season, the Pittsburgh Knights, every time they played this map, man, they made sure that they were on the Swarm side, just in case when it got to the late game, they had 5 rounds on that side, and we saw a lot of round 9s, a lot of crazy comebacks from them. Now, looking at placements on the map, it looks like we're gonna have that hammer burst being upgraded there on the side of ALRM. They're gonna get that incendiary grenade on the map, and that placement will be matched there on the other end. So, Ryan, when it comes, as we go into this next round here, what do you want to see out of the boys of RR here to get this one all tied up?
I want to see them stop team killing each other. There was like 2 different team kills between these last couple of rounds that basically threw them down in numbers. And obviously we talked about some of the differences between 5v5 and 4v4. Numbers change drastically on single deaths, right? When you lose 1 in 5v5, you still have a lot of members in the field. Any kill in 4v4 matters so much more. So those team kills become that much more detrimental, especially on this map where you know that you're going to be just constantly on your back foot, constantly moving around. So I want to see less of that. In the meantime, though, ALRM picking up where they left off, Blaze. You're going to see them take control of the tempo. They once again have both home hills. You're going to see Nero sort of push back. He has the Retro Lancer in hand, but again, even a Retro Lancer can't help you against 3 members in front of you. The push is now underway. Yeah,
definitely can. And 2 kills are going to get acquired here on the side of ALRM. And with numbers in their favor, that's going to be 3 down on RR. And they're looking for this last guy. They kind of already know where he's going to be. Player 4 goes to mid-map, blocks off his escape route. And that's going to be Morality letting them know that he got eyes on them. Let's just hold their 2-to-1 hill advantage. But they need to be quick with this one because their teammates have already identified that it's 3 members of RR on top of the F hill. So with them getting that kill, they know that Morality can go and get this E hill decap. So even though RR is capping their home hill once again, they're not going to get any more action because ALRM knows that the rotation needs to, that it's going to come through. So they are set up for it. And once they've identified that the numbers have thinned, they put pressure back on top of the F hill. So a back and forth battle of rotations here. And even though RR is making some good ones, it just seems that ALRM has just been a step ahead.
No, they certainly have been, man. Every single rotation, they seem to have the upper hand on. Obviously, the initials are going their way as well. And one of those maps like Vasgar, right? If you can start to slowly build that lead, it's so much harder to chip away at it when you're on your back foot. Again, it's not a map that you see a ton of trip caps on. You usually see a lot of rotations. So if you start off with like a 70-point lead, even if you lose a couple fights, right? You have that lead and you can just continue to move that map in a circle once again and continue to just chip away and continue just cap hill, decap hill, cap hill, decap hill. And in those scenarios, the team that's up a lot always wins.
Yes, they do. So we'll see if RR can do a better, well, we'll say a quicker job at their rotating, because I think they're making the right ones. It's just that they're a little bit slow and they're a little bit obvious on this map when they're making them. Now, here in the final moments of this round, ALRM, they just need one hill. It's going to be a 1v1 at E and a 1v3 at the D hill. Toxiq needs a prayer. And with the stairs being flamed up, he's not going to be able to get through this one. ALRM, they're going to go up 4-2 here on map number 1. Ryan, why are these boys so damn successful right now?
Yeah, man, they're certainly starting to pull away. Like I said, they're out rotating them. I think for one, they're winning a lot of the initials, right? So, so they're coming out ahead with the lead. And again, Vasgar is one of those maps that, in my opinion, you can really front run, right? If you build that lead up, and especially if you build it, start, you know, 30-point lead, 50-point lead, 60-point, as the higher it gets, it makes it that much harder for your opposition to kind of chip away at it. Makes it that much harder to come back. On a lot of other maps, right, you can definitively get a hold of the 2 cap on a retake, and then you can hold map control very easily yourself on a lot of other maps. On this map, you can't hold map control the same way, right? So a lot of times if you're down by a lot of points, it's so much harder. You have to be so much more perfect in order to bring that round back.
Rocky's having a great game. 11 kills, 10 assists, and 4 deaths throughout 6 rounds. Let's see if he can keep up that performance. And then, you know, you look at the rest of his teammates here, and, you know, they're having a game themselves. So let's see how this one is going to continue to break down. Looking at this strategy, ALRM is going to send majority of their players down low towards tank side of the map. Morality has already assessed that, hey guys, we got 2 players on our flank, so you have to push forward. Abolics gets it down, help comes through, the kill is there, and the revive is picked up by Rocky. This is going to be a 2v1. Toxiq's in a bad position, getting chased down with a shotty. He gets cleaned up, so 2 players down on the side of RR. Now Nero broke off to go help his teammate on the other side of the map, but was it the right play? He gets a kill. He has pressure on Lanarchy as Lanarchy tries to scurry away. He's gonna have to post up towards the back stairs, wait for reinforcements to come through, and Abolics with the crossbit map gets to double down, gonna let that player bleed out. He's gonna be able to decap the E hill and put 2 in favor of ALRM.
A lot of trades coming through from each end. You're gonna see a 2v1 now over at the D hill. Rocky, that body language, man, he wants all the static. He was up there, he wasn't even scared. Does get the first down, but the trades do come out as they normally do in a 2v1 scenario. He finally does fall, and that's going to position RR to make their move over towards that F hill. You're going to see a couple members. ALRM, they're there, they're waiting, but I think they know they're outmanned too, so what do? All right, it is Vasgar. Let's just go ahead, let's go to the next hill, but here comes Lanarchy out of the heavens. Flies from behind, gets 1, almost gets a second. He's gonna finally be taken out. See, in the meantime, right, ALRM, they made their move towards the D hill once they realized they lost a different hill.
Yeah, yo, I like how you say, yo, look at his body language there, because when it comes down to Gears of War, body language is everything. The strafe, are you getting aggressive? You know, the amount of shots you're hitting. And, you know, if you competed in Gears of War, you know, some players' body language can be disrespectful. You're like, man, you got a lot of confidence right now, the way you're trying to, you know, hit these shots, and just make you want to play a little bit better. F hill being defended by ALRM. They got 3 members here. Actually, all 4 members of each team is going to be surrounding this hill. Multiple downs coming in from each side. 2 downs on the side of ALRM. So RR having a successful mission defending this hill. They're going to clean up these kills, rotate out. They do not know where Abolics is. The sneak. The shot is there.
In the backside as well. That's going to put Rapidz in a bad spot. And you're going to see RR getting very close to closing that time gap. But here comes ALRM at the right time, going to decap these hills. F starting to be toyed with. But you're going to see Nero getting not 1 but 2, and that might have been the play blaze. That might just save RR in this round. You're going to see Rocky get a couple kills of his own, but is there enough time?
The composure there. Rocky knows that he needs to decap D if his team wants any chance. Abolics knew that he had to take out F, so this is a 2v2 fight. One player needs to get on the hill. Morality may get revived by Lanarchy. It's not over yet if you're a fan of ALRM. The foot is in, but it's not enough time for the decap. defense was too strong there for RR, and they're going to get another round there on the books. But what a crazy fight that we saw on the F hill. And in the end, RR, they find a way to survive, and it's off the back of a big double kill from Nero.
Yeah, I mean, ALRM, by all accounts, should have won that fight. I think Nero made a huge play. It almost looked like ALRM got a little, like, antsy, I guess you'd call it, overambitious, whatever it was, because they basically just kind of teed up the kills right there for Nero. Instead of kind of using your teamwork there, instead of kind of picking players off, they just kind of, like, bull rushed there with seemingly no goal in mind, and Nero made them pay, man. That was a huge hold for RR, a man down as well, and they find themselves still in this map, 4-3 scoreline. Of course, ALRM still looking very strong on this map, so they're still by all means looking like their map to win. But RR, they're not going down easy.
Oh, player 8 and 0 wasted no time pushing through E. They didn't even stop to cap the hill up. They wanted to flank towards D, and ALRM, they felt that pressure. Lanarchy's going to drop back to defend morality to give them some assistance. The shock is out, but the placement's just going to block off the back lane, gives morality a clear sight line to be able to Lancer and punish these players of RR who thought that that rotation was going to be successful for them. Now, player 7 and 9, they're going to have to wait for their teammates to come off respawn. But ALRM knows that, you know what? We're going to get this E hill first. We're going to force you guys to come to this side of the map to be able to defend this hill as we push through your spawn.
You're going to see Rapidz almost chasing these members down. You can see ALRM moving back to try to hold down this D hill. You're going to see Toxiq. As the utility, he's already getting just completely drilled. He's going to need a revive. Toxiq goes down once again. It's going to put him on his very last life, very last opportunity to make a play. And just like that, those two players get cut down. Utility was not enough for the team fire of ALRM and Blaze. These are these leads I'm talking about, man. It's very difficult. Once you mount a 60, 70-point lead, hard to come back.
When you're spawning on the lower side of the map, in my opinion, I don't think the D heal should ever be one of your heals in a 2-to-1 setup. Like, if you get it, you're there for a second, but that's only so you can rotate and lock down E and F. Or even F and D, right? You got F and D. I think that's a better setup if you can get your whole team on that side of the map, because you can successfully defend it because your opponent has to push through you. But E and D, and you're spawning down low, it doesn't work out too often. Now we see a 100-point lead here for ALRM, and they're looking good to hold this one off with E locked in and nobody contesting it. They're about to get F as well. This map is looking like it's gonna be over unless RR can come out with a miracle, folks. And it starts off Nero, and he's not that amazing in this moment. Took the retro to the chest. ALRM locks in map number 1.
Oh man, I wish the stream could have heard the producer's reaction to that in our headsets, because that was absolutely amazing. What a way to finish off map number 1. ALRM hitting them with the retro charge, icing on the cake, and that was RR's map pick as well, Blaze. They're kicking off the series right.
Yes, they are, man. Congrats to ALRM. That's only map number 1, though. And RR, they kept it competitive. Now, if I do recall correctly, Vasgar was RR's map pick, so that's gonna hurt them there. They're gonna have to turn around on Harbor, but good job to them. And map number 1, for some of the fans that just got here, you let them know what made ALRM so successful once again.
Yeah, man, it was their rotations, right? Obviously, on every map, you have to have a strong initial, and they definitely got the better end of the initials, but you saw how much they continue to out-rotate them across the map. They continue to put them on their back, but they continue to make them reactive, right? A lot of times, when you're the proactive team, you're forcing the other team to react to what you do. A lot of times when you're in that reactive state, you don't necessarily have the headspace to maybe make as organized of a play as you might normally if you're the one coordinating the push. So a lot of great stuff coming through from ALRM. They basically just never took their foot off the gas. We already know the individual skill this team has. We saw all these guys making big plays, but that was a very strong performance on RR's map pick. So they're going to have to play that much better here in map 2, because now you're heading on to these boys' picks.
Yes, it is. Now, one thing that could be looking good for RR is that even though their rotations was a little bit slow and they got out teamworked here on Vasgar, as we move on over to Harbor, the initials are a little bit more a little bit more simple than the other maps, because that big fight's going to be up top between Winch and Stern most of the rounds. So if you got the shotties there, if you got some good strategies, you can be able to go in and really set the tone on that map and get control of it. And if somebody tries to rotate down low between the home hills, hey, you got winch, you got stern control, Lancer over the top, okay? Cross them out. You should be able to see that push coming a mile away and get set up for it. So we'll see if the layout here of Harbor is gonna do some justice here for RR and get them back in this series.
Yeah, it's a lot more straightforward of a map than a map like Vasgar, right? On Vasgar, there's a lot of decisions to be made. There's a lot of ways you can move. You can cut through the middle even. On Harbor, it's pretty much 3 lanes, right? You have the 3 ways to go, and a lot of times you have the lines of sight to kind of see where it's coming. You can react a little differently. So I think RR's got their work cut out for them. Again, they have to win some initials, though. They can't keep starting themselves in a hole. It doesn't matter what map you're on. If you're not winning your initials, or at least not competing, winning half of them, close to half of them, it's very, very hard to win a map, especially now we are on this new 4v4 and you're letting players make those big individual plays, continue to hold those numbers. You got to show up big. So we'll see what RR has in store for us.
Yep. And now when it comes down to initials and Gears of War, I know some of you guys out there is like, how do they come up with these strategies? What are they planning for? Why don't you go play the other side of the map? And so one thing that, you know, kind of dictates the pace in which initially these players move coming out of spawn, it's going to be a few things. Is it a big power weapon on the map? Is there a drop shot, boom shot? Where's that point of interest? And how does that power weapon affect the map? Now, you know, we've seen in the past that, you know, you put a drop shot down, everybody has to go play for a drop shot. But on a map like Harbor, you put a drop shot down low on top of that B hill, but there's a sniper up top. Hell, you don't even need a sniper up top. Some teams are going to prioritize the height advantage. So height advantage, neutral hill, power weapons, all things they need to take into account. And then from that point, you and your squad can decide, okay, what works best for us? How can we take this information and kind of create strategies? How can we mask our numbers? How can we come out of spawn in a way in which people can't see us? So all of that takes into account. And I'll tell you one thing, I love watching some of these tier 2 teams in Gears Esports. I love seeing what they come up with, because sometimes we see some unique things that we've never saw before. And it's just like, yeah, player, that ain't gonna work. Or it's just like, hey, I'm gonna steal that one, you know? So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I always looked at like initials almost like a play in basketball, right? You always got to have some sort of goal in mind with your initial, right? So in basketball, we'll take the Golden State Warriors. Everyone knows that team, right? Yep. When they run a certain play, their goal is probably to get Steph Curry wide open for a 3, or their goal is to have someone backdoor for a layup, right? They do a certain amount of things. They move players in certain places with a goal in mind of a certain outcome. The same thing can be said when you think about these initial plays and these initial placements of players on Gears, right? So you think about, let's say that you know, obviously everyone has like their base strategy. Their base strategy is, okay, we want to match you with numbers, and then we want it to come down to a gunfight. Or you have the scenarios where on an initial, maybe teams will put more players on one side of the map than others. The goal in mind there is to catch them by surprise, overpower them on one side of the map, and then have control or have a different line of sight. If there's a power weapon, okay, now I want to move all 4 players over here with the goal in mind of securing that power weapon. So that's always how I thought about initials was, what is your goal in mind, right? If your base setup is just we want to get a 50-50 fight and we want to just try to use our guns, that's fine too. But when you start to get creative, when you start to put these players in different places, when you start to throw utility in different spots with a goal in mind of either A, blocking this guy's sight, or hey, catching them with their pants down over here. They didn't expect us 3. Now 3 of us can run over that guy here, and then we can go OE, right? There's always some sort of goal in mind. It's amazing to watch some of the best in-game leaders like Franchise, Explosive, guys who really think to the next level of how to catch teams off guard round after round. So like I said, some of these tier 2 teams, man, they really can get very, very creative. A lot of times those guys can help push the meta, right? They can help push the tempo and try out those new things here in the Challenger Series. So it's been very fun to watch.
And you know what? And it definitely has been. And one thing that you mentioned there too, well, I would say one of them, if in all else fails and you and your squad don't know what to do, okay, what initiative do we run? Man on man, okay? Something else that we didn't mention is, which side of the map do you have a better right-hand advantage? All right, this is a third-person shooter, and right-hand advantage means everything. You know, if we're gonna see some situations here on Harbor where you're gonna see 3 players go up towards stern side of the map, and when it comes down to that goal, typically your front spawn guy is gonna be your big honcho, your main slayer right there. That's Hefe for you, and you want to put him in a position where he is able to have that right hand, but also in a position where the Lancer can come over the top, where you can be able to pepper his players up so he don't have to hit a full 175. He don't have to hit that full spread. You know, you put about 5%, 10% of damage on these guys, he can hit 89s, 92s, 93s, and still come out on chunks. And that's why some of the best support players out there are able to highlight those Slayers, as long as they hit the shots, of course. But folks, we're heading here into map number 2, and the action is underway. As you see, Abolics right off the rip, picking up 2, gonna let one player bleed out, wants to quickly be able to rotate and help his teammate. They say, Nero, you can take a timeout as well. 4 members going down there on the side of RR. ALRM on top of the home hill. Solar, can you hold them off? Can you buy time for your team to get there? In a difficult spot, Lancers from multiple directions. He can't stay up. It's not looking good for RR in this quick round number 1, as Rocky is gonna hold the line. Sound alarm, Ryan.
Rocky's hitting these boys with the 1-2, but with one hand. He got the meat shield in one hand, and he's just absolutely throwing haymakers with the other on the 1-yard line. And we talk about body language, by the way. You see Abolics' body language on that initial.
Yes.
He came in there guns a-blazing. He did not care who was in front of him, flew right through a couple easy kills. And you just saw how quickly they capitalized on that fight. I told you, man, RR, if they're not going to win initials, they're going to have a hard time beating this team. And here we see it just in the first round here on Harbor. Abolics and co just continue where they left off.
And also, let me give it a little bit more love to Abolics, because that was off his left hand on Winch. Okay, that's a position in which, as he's running to Winch, he looks out the right side of his screen and he says, do I got that extra inch on that extra foot on my guy where I can get towards the wrap shot first? He felt like he could. He was able to land it, got 2 kills, had the support. This time around, he's gonna have a right hand, but his flash comes a bit short. That's gonna be a mishap. But on the flip end, nobody contests him over there, and he's getting free shots, distracting multiple players. But we gotta say, Nero wins his fight up top. Toxiq gets a kill over the top, and even though Abolics had such a great start and he put the pressure on his opponents, RR, they had a counter.
Yeah, I mean, that looked like that should have been an entire ALRM fight over there, right? They had him in position. They were putting in all the damage. They just, for some reason, couldn't get the downs. RR takes advantage, and now the shoe's on the other foot. Now you're seeing ALRM getting pinched on their own home hill, trying their best to fight for their life. They do have the cap. It looks like that kill feed continuing to light up blue. Solar's going to get the pickup. Now you're going to see the meat shield in his hand. Now, Morality, one last chance. He's got that spawn shield going. He's going to try to run right past him. He's going to fall as well, and no one will be in position. That's going to be 4 dead. Tied up we go.
Talking from that quick round number 1 that we saw from ALRM, it was like, man, this thing looking good for RR. You know, they came out and they made a statement, but we saw the boys of RR stay alive in it. They were able to respond, get the home hill, and it was just a few seconds off from that first round. Now, looking at the weapons that's getting placed, Toxiq was one of the first things that got placed down. Now, why is that? I personally feel it's that long range potential from the secondaries to Winch, and for you to get that headshot potential, be able to help your teammates across map. Now we're going to see Talons get placed on the other end, and we know how good that weapon can be.
Yeah, both of these weapons, man, they can absolutely shred, especially in scenarios. And you got that meat shield going too. You got a little extra coverage, and you got that cannon sitting there. That could be deadly, but gotta get there first. We have, once again, this initial coming through Solar. He's gonna be aggressive this time, putting the Abolics and co on their back foot. So they choose to respond. Lanarchy, he's gonna get the first down. The revive trains come through. So far, so good for both of these teams. And right now, RR is continuing to push them back. Kind of like the same we saw before, right? ALRM got a lot of good initial damage in, but wasn't able to secure the down. RR looking much better on these initials. We said this is what they needed to do. They're going to come out on map 2, and they are starting to do it.
RR is doing such a fantastic job at adapting at what's being thrown at them, because I feel like when it comes down to textbook starts, ALRM, they got it down pat. Okay, they are where they need to be. They know how they want to initiate this round, but RR is hitting shots. Okay, they are responding. They said, all right, we see what you guys are throwing at us, but you still got to take us down. You still got to bring us to our knees, and they have been standing tall there. You see Nero, he's leading the charge for his team. 3 kills, 7 assists, and just 3 deaths there. Now, we're seeing different philosophies on how both these squads want to play each side on the Winch. That time around, RR wanted to use their right-hand advantage and wrap 2 players off around the edge of that Winch. And, ALRM, they were trying to defend against it, But you know, it just did not work out. We'll see what comes out at the start of this round. Talents get upgraded to retros, and that's going to play a huge factor into how these teams want to play this one out.
Yeah, these retros, they do some damage. We'll see if these have any impact on the fight. So far, RR has been getting the better of them these past couple rounds. We see them getting aggressive. They're getting some confidence under their belt as well. ALRM still push back. First down comes through once again, but they will get the finish. Now you're going to see Rocky on the backside, has a great angle. This is looking much more like an ALRM initial. Toxiq's going to fall, Solar's going to fall. That's going to be 3 members down. ALRM looks to potentially tie this half up at 2-2.
And that's a beautiful, that's a big 1v1 up top. You lose that one, your teammates are getting pinched down low. And as we see, ALRM already has the pressure on RR, and I don't think anyone's going to be able to get to this hill. Rocky misses the first, cannot do anything to the second, and RR stays alive. That was a big blunder on his part there, because that round was getting locked in. We'll see if he regrets that one as we continue on with round number 4.
You can see ALRM now maybe starting to play through that B map, or the B hill, of course. They have control now of their home hill and the neutral. So now it's going to be up to RR to make their push. You're going to see Morality set up, getting that information, getting that early Lancer fire. You can look at the utility. It looks like Solar, Toxiq, and Rapidz all have a piece of utility to make this push with. So it's going to be about identifying where the players are on ALRM. Try your best to get the stun. First kill, though, does come out. Will Morality get the revive? He does end up revived, and the player actually falls as well. Swarm team continuing to hold numbers in plays. That's going to be huge, because that's going to extend their lead that much further.
He had help from Winch. All he had to do was keep the Lancer out, but he wanted to get the chunk there, and I think he's regretting it in this moment. 2 heals on the side of ALRM. They also have a 100-point lead. They do not need to play for the A hill, and they recognize that. Going to wait for the teammate to come off spawn. 2 players defending the up top lane. They got 1 player down low at B. This is a great position for them to be in, and with time ticking away, RR, they have none left to waste. 20 seconds left on the clock, and they got to get through some noble style crossfire here.
Yeah, they got to make a basically perfect split push, and Rocky's got that retro Lancer. He's just raining fire. It looks like RR choosing to put 3 members through that home hill, but you can see they can't even get past the front line. Those players are getting dropped left and right the first half. Very, very close, as was map number 1. We are once again deadlocked here at 2-2.
And that's the beauty about the retro Lancers being on the map. You can really lean into that defensive playstyle if you want, once you have acquired a 50+ point lead. And you know, as a player, the amount of intimidation that you give to your opponent, even when you kind of just shoot, you can shoot the retro in the air like, yeah, it's over here on this side of the map. Push it if you won't. Okay, I'm waiting for you. It's hard to get through it. You need to put down some well-placed flash grenades, sometimes some well-placed smokes, and you got to have a teammate attached to your hip expecting you to go down and get that instant revive, to possibly wait for him to get to that end of the clip, for him to switch weapons, and for you to make a play in that area of the map. And we know at this level of Gears Esports, that is so hard to do. But hey, that's why the players with great movement, their stocks usually stay pretty high. Off this initial here, this time around, RR, they're going to send 2 people up top. The heals have flipped, but the objective is still the same. Get Stern, get Winch. The neutral heal is locked in for RR for now, but Rocky's picking up kills and reinforcements are coming.
Yeah, this top fight's going to be so much more impactful now because the neutral hill is up here as well. So it's a scenario where you get map control, you get time control having those 2 hills. So each one of these kills is going to be so important. And so far, ALRM, they're going to be the ones to win that fight. Rocky's going to go ahead and pull that horn for good measure. Now we'll see what RR chooses to do. Of course, your 2 decisions are to once again push up top and try to get the neutral, or make your way for an overextension. Looks like right now they're starting to toy with the idea of potentially moving back towards the neutral. Toxiq has a retro in hand. This is a tough spot of the map to push, please.
Yeah, it really is, especially with the retros here as well. But we talked about what you got to do. You got to wait for your opponent to kind of empty out that clip a bit. Well-placed flashes. You got to be there for your teammates for the revive. And we see the movement there of Solar just trying to soak up some of that damage, soak up some of that team fire here from ALRM, but he quickly needed a revive, and both these players are stuck in a corner. They're going to spread out in multiple different directions to try to separate the focus fire of ALRM, but they both go down and cleaned up. That's 3 members down on the side of RR. The last one is spotted, and it's only a matter of time before he gets crossed out.
See that teamwork, man, coming through from ALRM. They're on the final hill. The question is anyone in position to get the touch? Toxiq, he's gonna try to get there. He's gonna probably get stopped right on the about the 2-yard line, I would say. It's not quite a 1-yard liner. I'll give that one about a 2-yard liner.
Yep.
And ALRM, man, they're up 1-0 in the series. Now they're starting to build that lead here on map 2. Of course, this is their map pick as well, so you'd think that they would obviously have the utmost confidence here on Harbor, since obviously been very, very close. But this could be where they pull away.
Man, and you know, you have 2 out of 5 rounds. Abolics, and I do believe that is Lanarchy with over 13 assists apiece. So they are making sure that they are always a part of this team fight, no matter where they are on the map. And that's the beauty about these secondary weapons like the Hammer Burst and a Retro Lancer. Now we will see incendiary grenades get placed down, and this is going to open some new strategies in which you can kind of run off this I would say going towards the second team fight and initial, because if you can get control of both of those incendiary grenades, you can kind of effectively hold down these home hills and lock down those small lanes in which it takes to get to them. Now here we
like RR playing a bit different than we normally see, right? Normally you want a lot of players up on that winch, maybe trying to get up there and get aggressive, but they're giving ALRM kind of a lot of control. So now you're going to let Abolics get a player down, and then you're going to give him the ultimate angle on the backside. I'm not quite sure what they were doing coming out here. And Rocky once again finishing off that fight with a little bit of swag on him.
Oh, I thought he almost got him. Oh, he got him back though. So that is, he did get him on the other end. So both players did die at the home hills, and that incendiary grenade will prevent any player from contesting that trip cap. Now on the COG side of the map, the left hand of the mini map, I think that it's better to, you know, play your right hand advantage, send more players up top towards the stern area. But Ryan, as you said, they're keeping that left hand down low, playing the winch. But ALRM, they're taking good fights and they're peppering those guys up. They're playing it from a distance, knowing that they got some help in the sight lines, especially with the players picking up those Retro Lancers behind them on the secondaries. So a little bit of a better initial for the weapons that are on the map and the spawn that they have for ALRM, and it's working out for them. Now, in this given moment, you see the lead here for ALRM. They got 2 hills to their name and they have a setup. We're currently about to figure out how does RR want to break it. It's going to be a difficult play, but the flashes are out, so they have to commit. They do get a kill, and a revive comes through. Solar manages to get one. Couldn't get another shot on Rocky, but here comes Nero and Co. They clean house and completely break that setup.
So now Morality's left in a 1v3. Again, he's just trying to stay alive. He's trying to buy some time. Obviously, you're going to see RR not enough time to go for the trip cap, but they do now have map control. You see they do have the win condition as well. The question becomes how ALRM chooses to respond, right? You can see 3 members of RR over on the top side of the map. Rapidz kind of by himself over on D. So, of course, always poses the question, do you make the push for the neutral? Looks like that's what their choice has been. As the utility comes out, here comes the Swarm team. Lanarchy as a tip of the spear. Moving forward as his teammates begin to fall. Morality, he's going to be dropped. Rocky's going to fall. Lanarchy's going to fall. A beautiful hold coming through from RR and Blaze. I think this time they want to make their way towards that home hill.
And they are going to be on top. Abolics is going to have to tap out. He's not even going to crawl towards it. He knows that his teammates can't make it there in time. They're going to have to just chalk it up to their opponents. And the swing moment of this round was RR's retake on top stern. They threw 2 flash grenades in unison, was able to get up to the top of the ramp. Nero won a 1v1 at winch, and he came and flanked those 2 players, got them control, and they were able to hold off on the next team fight. And that made it to the point where they were able to push a unison and get the trip cap domination and get this one all tied up 3-3. Now we're going to see the Retro Lancers get upgraded to shot grenades. Now, the Retro Lancer is such a powerful weapon there, Ryan, but why would teams want to switch from that to the shot grenade?
Yeah, I mean, the shot grenade's a very, very strong piece of utility. It's very multi-purpose, right? And it can be used a lot for objective play. Of course, we know how strong the Retro is. We know how strong that can be when it comes to slaying out. But there's, obviously, like I said, you still spawn with a regular Lancer, so you still have the ability to use those team fire weapons. But a shot grenade can basically take away positioning from a team. It can do things like stopping a hill from being capped. It's very multi-purpose, right? So I think that teams like to have that for more strategical purpose.
Now we see that Shock is going to block off an angle there towards the right, so his teammate can't get crossed. But even in the end, with RR having control of top stern, they'll be able to cap this hill and flank Abolics down low. But with damage on the second player, he cleans up the double kill and completely flips this entire team fight around. It was looking grim for ALRM, but off the back of Abolics, they will get control of top Stern.
That's what you said, Blaze. Those 2v1s in a 4v4 scenario just have so much more impact. Abolics once again making a massive play for his team. And look at this. They want more. They're already pushing for this trip cap. Nero in a very tough spot. He has some help, but Rapidz, he's also just going to completely get tagged up. It looks like ALRM actually might be deciding to give up that hill. They once again do take control. On the other side, RR making a push of their own, potentially looking to get an OE over onto the D hill. See how ALRM chooses to respond. This is very back and forth.
It is back and forth, and that was a great counter to RR, and so they'll be able to get a home hill set up down low. But they know that they have to play for E in this moment, because as ALRM comes off respawn, they're going to send numbers in that direction of the map. But on the flip end, ALRM, they're doing a good job defending E. And with those 2 kills coming through with a quick wrap shot by Morality, they'll be able to go back, get the D hill as well. Incendiary grenades, if they have not spawned up already, I see some shot grenades in the hand of Rocky there, and some other utility across the map. But whoever has them, now is the time to put it to good use, because this is relatively all tied up. We're about to get a lead change here for ALRM, and we see where the next team fight is about to break out at. It's going to be top Stern. Here comes the flashes, and there's the counter shock, and this is why the teams upgraded their retro lancers. They're just pretty much giving themselves points with the 2-to-1 hill setup. They know exactly where their opponents are, and with them having focus in these areas of the map, they get to see where this rotation's coming from. They get to get set up. You see Morality dropping back off that winch. The shift has came for ALRM, and now the double rotation to come back for RR, because they know Morality shifted off. But this is where you have to be quick, Ryan, because going back and forth, your opponent can see it, and you got to commit to one area. You don't have much time on the clock. Multiple players going down for each side. Nero gets a kill. Abolics gets one as well, but Nero got the double. Can Rapidz get to the D hill in time? 5 seconds on the clock. A 1v1 for the win of the round, and Lanarchy locks it in.
Yeah, if you're Rapidz there, you got to push much faster, right? He basically tried to put himself in a position to get there on the very final second. You got to get on that hill, man. You got to get there fast. He wins that 1v1. That changes some things around, but nonetheless, man, ALRM now find themselves 1 round away from advancing to the winners finals. RR, they got to dig deep, right? They got to win these next 2 if they are going to come out and force a map number 3. You saw just how impactful that shot grenade was. It really did stop them dead in their tracks. You're going to see now the disable coming in onto the shot, going to very likely be matched, because you saw that was the difference maker, honestly.
Yep. That really was, because it was like RR came off and they said, all right, guys, we got to push top Stern. Let's go. 3-man rush, shot grenade. And from that point, ALRM was calling out the rotations. One guy should go in middle, watch the mid lane. They're coming back up. And they got to the point where they were in the last second situation. They put off the back of Anarchy, and he had already had his opponent peppered up as he was going from home hill to home hill off the initial. You see RR using a little bit more of those lancers to support Toxiq on the edge. They are able to pick up 3 kills on winch, and now it's up for Morality to push the action towards his opponent's side of the map to possibly give his teammates an opportunity to get to the hill. If not, it's going to be going to a round 9, folks. Can they do it? Yes, they will.
Yeah, there was just nothing Abolics could do there, man. 4 Lancers staring him right in the face. And then round number 9 is upon us. High stakes coming through from both of these teams, right? If you're ALRM, you got to win this round to secure this series. Meanwhile, RR fighting for their lives here.
They really
in the
are.
Winners bracket. Big initial coming up, man.
They ain't taking no free hits, man. And I'm just impressed by the rebuttal rounds in which they have from some of the more demoralizing ones in which we felt like ALR defeated them in. But they standing tall, they've kept their composure, and they've made it to round 9, and that's what's most important. Forget the previous 8 rounds a little bit. You know, of course, you should be taking notes on every initial your opponent has ran up until this point, and this is where your IGL really proves his worth to the team. This is where he calls the strategy and say, hey guys, you know what? They've been really aggressive on the winch with their right hand. Let's take a step back. Let's pull out our lancers. Let's cross them down here. Let's play for damage. Let's not give them easy fights, putting ourselves in these little chunk one-shot positions. But off the break, you're gonna see RR see majority of their numbers up top. Player 4 did wrap around the witch. Now Toxiq's getting aggressive. He knows his teammate put the damage, and he got the call out that ALRM was running away and disengaging from the fight. But with that shot grenade being placed off there towards the left stairs, right there behind Toxiq. Oh, it's actually going to be placed on the heel, but it's already capped, so that's not going to be able to do have much of an effect here.
And now you're going to see a lot more slower push, I should say. You're going to see RR holding down the hill, right? Trying to set up wide, trying to get themselves as many lines of sight as possible. And actually, Toxiq, they're going to get aggressive. They've realized Rocky's by himself. They've tried to secure a nice little 2v1, but Rocky managed to stay alive. The team player on the other end starting to favor the boys on ALRM. Rocky goes down and that changes so much, but he manages to stay alive. And now you're going to see ALRM on the offensive. But Abolics on the backside is going to be taken out.
Oh, no.
Of RR still wolfpacking, and this is going to put them in a tough spot because now they're going to be the ones potentially getting pinched. Here comes the first down. The chain revive's not going to be there. That good old Marks are coming through for the LATAM side. Blaze, that was massive.
What a turnaround. Yo, Rocky played it well to get away. Toxiq still on his last down, by the way, folks. But on the flip end, RR found a way to stay composed with what ALRM threw at them. And now, can they finish it off? The Marks is connecting, but he missed the shot that he needed. And like I said, he was on his last down. So he's taken out an across map. Anarchy can get a headshot there. And that was actually in a close range engagement. Nice grab shot by him. B-Hill's getting capped up. 2v2 fight on the home hill. ALRM, can they turn it around? It's not over yet, but RR with the defense on F and all 4 players alive. They're going to slow this one down and stay alive.
Rocky needs to stay alive here. This is going to be huge because obviously, despite not getting the trip cap, ALRM at least put a dent in the score, got the 2 cap back, and you see they have the win condition. So now on the other end, you're seeing 3 members of RR starting to push. Rocky continues to just kind of be a nuisance, stay alive. It's a good full spread. Players are dropping on both ends. Who's going to win the battle of the revive? Solar's taken to such low health. ALRM, that's going to be 3 members down. They still control the 2 cap morality.
This is a 1v1. This is huge. Nero's been coming clutch all game, but can he do it once again with the blind fire over the top? He's still capping the hill. Keeps 1 to his team name, but this 2v2 fight on top of F is going to be so important. Rapidz, Toxiq taking their time. They know the lead hasn't changed just yet, but Morality blocks off a lane, gets a kill, so the focus fire is now towards the inside as they are trying to keep this 2-to-1 hill set up in their name, but Nero is winning 1v1 fights for his team at E. He's gonna have to do it again. Can his squad get the decap on the hill? This is the most important meat shield of Toxiq's career as he's gonna put the melee out. Can he get him down? But in the end, time was brought for ALRM and they close out this map number 2 and progress on to the finals. What a hell of an ending.
That was one of the most insane round 9 finishes I have ever seen. Absolute chaos. You see the power of the 1v1s. Nero doing so much single-handedly at the neutral. Unfortunately, RR just ran out of time. Great stuff coming through from ALRM. They move on in the winners bracket. They're now going to find themselves in the winners finals, where I do believe they'll face off against some pals over on Old Men. But man, Blaze, what a freaking map.
Man, what a map indeed there. Nero was literally fighting for his team's winner bracket life up top. Won 2 big 1v1s, was close to having a fight a third. And he's just looking at his teammates like, hey, Famos, get to the hill. Can you break it? Can you make it happen? They got the fights in which they needed to possibly close it out. But in the end, it was in the end, man, it was just ALRM who just had more composure and a little bit more experience than them to close out that series. And they progress on through towards the winner's side. And like you said, they might be playing against some opponents that they've played again before in Old Men. But you look at these replays and show you guys some of the best moments here of this matchup. Man, RR, they fall towards the loser's side of the bracket, but our fault, Ryan.
Oh, absolutely, man. That was an absolute battle all the way down to the wire. I mean, truly, literally down to the final fight of the final round. Fantastic, fantastic showing from both of these teams. I'm so glad we got to watch this matchup because I knew this matchup would just be so close. So both maps truly did deliver. Of course, RR now, they just fall down to the losers bracket. They are still absolutely in this tournament, so we'll see what kind of run they can make. But ALRM now find themselves 1 series victory away from taking one of the final Pro League spots. And Blaze, they're looking good.
They are looking good, you know. I hate that the first match possibly ended as quick as it did, because I wanted to keep casting with you and hop into Old Man and NYG and see how those guys were playing. But Ryan, you said it before that they still have an opportunity to be able to progress on and qualify for the Pro League. How is the format working out today for the teams that lose?
Yeah, this is going to be an 8-team double elimination bracket. Obviously, meaning you have to lose twice to be knocked out. So the teams that basically finish first and second in this bracket, when it's all said and done, will be the teams that qualify for the Pro League. Or if you're more familiar with brackets, basically the teams that win what would be the winners finals and then the losers finals matchups. Those will be your final 2 Pro League teams that will join the other 10 pre-qualified teams here in our Pro League. ALRM now 1 series victory away from being one of those teams. RR, they're still in this thing, right? They do fall down to the lower side of the bracket, but they're not done yet.
Yeah, they're not done yet whatsoever. And, you know, I'm pretty sure it's a lot of lessons for them to learn in these first 2 maps and things to adjust. But luckily for them is that we have a great format and it's a double elimination bracket. So all the practice in which they put in up until this point is not over yet. This is where you show the type of Gears of War team that you are, and you show your resilience, because you know, if you want to make it, you're gonna have to get through that losers bracket sometime. Losers bracket to put hair on your chest, folks, if you did not know. All right, so we'll see what they can do. All good so far. All right, now for you guys out there who's just joining us, let's give you guys a look at the bracket to see how that's gonna, everything has been set up so far up until this point, how these teams have moved on. Because Ryan, you and Taylor got a chance to cast a great matchup to kick this day off when it came down towards Remedy and Old Man. And that one went the distance. Hell, we almost even saw a comeback on it as well.
Yeah, no, that was a hell of a performance coming through from Remedy, but the veterans on Old Men get it done, and seemingly they got it done in round number 2 as well. So that sets up one hell of a winners bracket finals. Old Men versus ALRM. One of these teams will make the Pro League by winning that series. What that also means is, by the way, another NA team is going to punch their way into the Pro League. Of course, both Old Men and ALRM teams coming from North America. And then you see what's going on down on that lower bracket. RR, they're going to face off against Remedy and Blaze. That's going to be one hell of a matchup as well. We saw how strong Remedy looked. Obviously, we saw how strong RR looked. That's going to be a tough one. Yeah, and there we go. So, and that right there, man, is going to have it set up for our winners qualifying round. And I will say that those are 2 great teams that I will love to cast over in the Pro League against everybody else. Old Man, all 4 of those players, it'll hurt my heart not to see them in the Pro League, okay? You know, granted, they can still compete in the Challenger Series, but we have watched the progress and the growth of Demise, Tidy, Shock, and Detox for years, and they give us some of the best storylines out there. Them boys, they don't like to lose, and they give us some great content on Twitter all the time that I love reading there, okay? But folks, that's going to do it here for our winners round 2. Now I'm about to go and we're about to bring Taylor back on, and him and Ryan are about to figure out who is going to be our first qualified team of the Pro League here in the Split 2 LCQ. Don't go anywhere. We'll see you guys in just a bit.